Step 4. Step 4 is inserting your task. Now you don't have to insert tasks. Some templates don't require tasks to be inserted. Some templates do, but they're very, very general. So you might have a main task, for example, and you might then have a subtask. And so they're quite general types of headings. Or some templates have very specific types of tasks that they want to insert. It's completely up to you. But when you come to putting your tasks in, just type them, like I'm just typing them here, for example. And the other thing you can do is, if you want to populate a whole lot of the same, put your mouse in the bottom right corner until you get a thin black cross and just drag that down. And that will allow you to also put a whole lot of sort of generic tasks in. And maybe I want a milestone here, for example, things like that. So type in what task you want on your template. Now if you need to insert something, let's say I need to put another main task in the middle here, go up and down first of all using your arrow keys. It's very sad to watch somebody grab their mouse, wiggle it and then click in the next cell down to type in the next cell down. Just use your arrow keys, you're much faster. But if I select a particular row, in this case row 8, and I want to put a main task there, then I use the insert key on my keyboard. The insert key on your keyboard is a quick way to insert a blank row and therefore a new main task. If I come down here and I go insert, I can put another main task. Now you can with your mouse go up to task and use the task button. You can insert a task, a blank row, a summary task, a milestone, using these options here. But you are way quicker if you just use your arrow key, press the insert key, and then type what it is that you want to insert. The other thing is, if you want to delete something, I can arrow up to here, for example, select this entire row, and then just simply press the delete key, and row 4 will be deleted. Now, if you wanted to undo that, of course, up here in your quick access toolbar, you have got an undo button. And if I rest on it, the shortcut key, if you're interested, is Control Z, the last letter of the alphabet. Now if I hit undo, it'll bring that task back. You do in fact have 20 levels of undo, so you can undo the last 20 things you've done. But you can increase that, and I've done that with my own machine. I've gone into File, I've gone into Options, and I've gone to Advanced. And in Advanced, I've increased the undo levels to the maximum, which is 99, which means I can undo up to 99 things I've done. So you may want to consider that as well. So I'll cancel out of there. We could also copy and paste, for example. If I selected row 19, went right click and copy, or Control C as copy, if I copy that row and then perhaps I right click on row 14 and I go paste, it'll paste that milestone into there. So again, you don't have to type it a second or third time. You could just copy and paste. And then editing. What if I wanted to change this to say milestone here? We click, we double click, we do all sorts to try and edit what's in there. A much easier way is to go to File, go to Options, and go to Display, and turn on what we call the entry bar. If I tick this option here and go OK, I've now got this entry bar, very much like the formula bar in Excel. And if I want to say milestone here, I just use the entry bar to edit things, milestone here. Much quicker than clicking, double clicking, and all that faffing around that goes on when you're trying to edit something. So I'll go undo and undo to take those away. So turn that entry bar on, that'll stay on from now on. What about moving? If I decided that this task here, for example, main task, row 9, I'll select it. If I put my mouse on the edge of that row, I get this mouse pointer. Now this mouse pointer is what we use to drag up and drag down and rearrange things. So I can drag this down and drop it there, or I can drag it up, select the row, drag it up and put it there. So you can move things up and down as well. The other thing is Control up arrow takes you to the top of the list, Control down arrow takes you to the bottom of the list. So Control up and Control down, more and more useful the longer the list becomes. So that is entering your data, etc. You can also double click this line here to adjust your column width. So I've adjusted that, so you can bring your column widths in or take them away. Now for this particular template, I actually want to bring in some more specific tasks. I'm going with a residential construction scenario. So I'm actually going to select all of these rows and I'm going to delete them. And I've made a list of tasks in an Excel file, which I'm going to bring into view here. I'm going to click somewhere here, go Control A to select all, Control C to copy, click over here in the task name and press Control V to paste. And then I'll double click this line to widen the column. And so I've just copied and pasted these tasks, 55, from Excel into Project. Now I don't need the first row, so I'll select the first row and I'll just delete that. That's a column heading. And I've got all the tasks that I want on my template now appearing here. Control down arrow, Control up arrow to the top and to the bottom. So get your tasks into your template. With all our tasks in our template, we now need to think about the outline structure. This is step 5. Some tasks are what they call summary tasks, and tasks are milestones, and some tasks are just subtasks. Now, to create an outline structure and create these types of tasks, we indent. I'm going to click on this task, shift down arrow, or just drag down with your mouse and select these two tasks. Now on your task tab in the ribbon are two buttons. This button here is indent task, and when I click it, it literally indents these two tasks that I had selected. Now the consequence of that is the task above, in fact the entire row, has gone bold. And you can see that it almost appears like a staple on the Gantt chart. That task, general conditions, is now a summary task, and these two are now just task bars or subtasks. If I then selected, say, these ones here, secure, 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 and I indented those, notice the shortcut key is Alt-Shift right arrow, so you can use that as well. I'll indent those, and now apply permits is now a summary task and appears so on the Gantt chart. If I click this button or Alt-Shift left arrow, I'll outdent, and this button will indent. All right, but apply permits itself and all of its subtasks here actually goes under sign the contract and notice to proceed. So I need to select this task and indent it. So I'm going to go back to here so that it's underneath. So we've got general, and then under that finalize, sign, apply, and then under that secure, secure, secure. So you're creating levels. In fact, if I went to view and I went to outline and said show me level 1, level 1 is general conditions. Notice rows 2 to 10 have been hidden. And if I say show me level 2, then that's those 3. And if I show me level 3, then that's 1, 2, 3. So you've created an outline structure where you can indent and outdent. I'm going to proceed to select these two, and indent them. Alt-Shift right arrow. I'm going to select these ones under foundation and indent. These ones are under framing, so I'm just down arrow, and then I just Shift Alt right arrow to indent. Now under dry in, I haven't put the task, so I'm going to just hit the insert key and put tasks in here later, and then indent that. And then same under here. I might copy that row, Shift spacebar selects a row, Control C copies. Go under exterior finishes and Control V pastes, and then Alt-Shift right arrow indents. So you can do that sort of thing. Select a row, copy it, go somewhere and paste it, but it can be done all with keys as well. So I'll put the exterior finishes in later. Now under interior finishes, I want to select these tasks, just down to carpet, and indent those. Under landscaping, we've got these here, indent those. Final acceptance is these here, indent those. So I've created an outline structure of my project by indenting, and so I've got summary tasks now here and tasks or subtasks here. Now, some of these tasks, particularly rows 5 to 10, are what we call milestones. And a milestone is simply a duration of 0. So I'm just going to put a 0 for secure foundation permit, and when I press enter, you can see it appears as a diamond. And I'm just going to put 0 in each of these, or I could just fill that down and put 0 in each of those. So those are all diamonds now. It's struggling to show because it's right up against a weekend, but they are diamonds. Now, when you create the indent structure, sometimes it's helpful to see what we call outline numbering, or a WBS, which is a work breakdown structure code. Let's start with the outline numbering. If you go to Gantt chart format in your ribbon, out to the right hand side is a tick box called outline number, and if you tick it, notice how you've now got general conditions as 1, finalise as 1.1, sign as 1.2, apply as 1.3, and secure foundation permit as 1.3.1. That gives you a clear outline structure by applying numbering to each of your tasks. Alternatively, on your template, some people like to turn that off, and they will insert instead the WBS column. So I'm going to right click task name, I'm going to insert column and press W. And there's WBS. In fact, there's WBS successors and WBS predecessors. But I'm just going to go for WBS, which is short for work breakdown structure. And what you see is effectively a unique outline number assigned to each and every task. So in your template, you may decide to insert the WBS column. If you don't want it, right click it and hide it. Or you may decide instead to go to Gantt chart format and turn on the outline numbering. That's my preference. Or you may not decide not to show that either. You decide, now that you know what your options are, how you want the numbering, or if you want the numbering to appear. I'm going to leave the outline numbering on because I think it makes it clear to see whether your indenting is correct or not. And so coming back to this outline view, if we go to view and we go to the outline button, we ask to see level 1. Those are your top level 1 summary tasks. If I ask to see level 2, those are my second level tasks, which is apply for permits. And then if I ask to see level 3, I'm seeing all the details. You can indent up to 9 levels, is what that's basically saying. But I wouldn't even get close to 9. You can also click these little triangles to collapse and expand the amount of detail you wish to see. The next thing we need to think of, step 6, are the durations. How much time are you going to allow for a task to be completed? So by default, you can see some question marks, which means that project went down through the task and automatically assigned a 1-day duration to each of the tasks. Now, the fact that it assigned a day is because the day has been set as the default duration. Let's go to here, for example, where I excavate for foundations. If I want the excavation to take, or allow them to have 5 days, I just type 5, because days is the default. And you can immediately see the length of the bar increases. Now, the summary task foundation has also gone up to 5 days. The summary task duration and its start and finish are determined by what's indented underneath it, by its subtasks. The earliest start and the latest finish of any of its subtasks determines the start and the finish of the summary task, and therefore determines the duration of the summary task. So they are completely affected. So if I turn around and made this 10 days, then suddenly this is 10 days. The earliest start, the latest finish determines the length and the start and finish of the summary task. So don't edit these manually, let it actually calculate that. Now, the fact that days is the default is because under File and under Options, and particularly Schedule, we've got here duration is entered in days. So that's why it defaults to days. But you could change it if you wanted to. Okay, but you have got durations other than days. For example, I might make this one 10 minutes. 10M would be 10 minutes. Or 10H would be 10 hours. Or 10D for 10 days, or 10W for 10 weeks, or 10MO for 10 months. You can change, and there is years, but it doesn't seem to work very well. And then I can put it back to say 1 day, things like that. Okay, so you have got other duration units. And what I want to do is I want to cut those duration units down. So I don't see the word day or days, I just see D, because it just makes it cleaner, simpler, easier to read. So at this point, I'm going to go back into File and Options. And for this template, under Advanced, I'm going to set the display options for this template. Minutes appears in M, hours appears as an H, days appear as a day, weeks appear as a W, months appear as MO, and years appear as Y. So for this template, not all projects, just this template, that's how I want to display the duration units. And I'll go OK, and you'll see all the days or day have been cut down to just a D. At this point, I would say to you, go through and just enter the duration. So 20 for this one and 1 day for this one, which takes away the question mark from general conditions because all of its subtasks now have got a duration specified. And these are all zeros because they're milestones. Whereas in stored temporary power service is 1 day, meaning the question mark goes away. We don't want question marks in our template, and the site work is completed. As far as the foundation goes, I'm going for 3, 13, and I'm just sitting down arrow, 12, 7, 2, 2, 1, 2. So just use your down arrow and don't fill in the summary tasks. Framing, I'm going to go for 2, 2, 4, 1, 2, 2, 2, 3, 2, 3, and, oops, hang on a minute, let's just check that. 2, 2, 4, 1, 2, 2, 3, and 2, 3, 1. 2, 3, and 1. I haven't put the tasks in here, but I know we're looking at about 24 days, so let's just chuck that in. I haven't put the tasks in here, but exterior finishes typically take us about 19 days, so let's just chuck that in. Insulation, I want to put here 11, 9, 17, 6, 6, 5, 3, and 8. As far as landscaping goes, I'm just going to say let's do 2, 2, 2, and 1. And acceptance, we're going to go 1, 1, 1, and 5 for complete punch list items. Immediately you can see the bars increase in terms of length and the summary tasks are all done. So go through. If you have put tasks in your template, go through and put in some durations for each of those tasks. Now practice what you've learned, absorb what we've covered, and I'll see you in the next video.